Hi, my name is Swati. We'll be taking on the continuation of yesterday's topic on thoughts are thoughts. And when we feel stuck in a lot of negative thoughts, how can we choose our thoughts and convert them into positive? Um, like we were mentioning yesterday, we need to recognize the themes around which we are having negative ideation. And once we recognize those themes, we will need to break them down, categorize them, and then slowly and steadily move them into positive. Today's topic that we have is um, I think people don't like me, or feeling unlovable, or feeling unliked. The emotional health of a person is very attached to the social health because emotions require two things: an internal um, movement where you experience that emotion, and a physical expression of that particular emotion by giving somebody a hug or permitting yourself to cry it out. So it involves, while a lot of internal feelings and I need to like myself kind of a philosophy, it also involves the way we position ourselves among the social structures. In that, even introvert people have their own social structure in the sense that they connect with the world with some one or two things. For example, a few introvert world people can connect with the world through their abilities, their talents, through things that they bring on the table for the world to observe. So there could be a painter who's a very introverted person, used to the idea of being only in his studio, but he connects with the world through art. So this connection with that we have with other people, it leaves us in a spot of feeling vulnerable, where we are liked by people or disliked by people. When we are trying to reject a thought, we are equally engaging with that thought. Similarly, when we are disliked by people, we are still engaging in a relationship with those people. While all of us would like to have a positive relationship, being in a negative relationship with someone is also being in some form of a relationship. So the idea of being disliked a lot of times can be overwhelming because it still engages us. It's not like people are oblivious to us, or it's not like uh, this particular group of people, it doesn't matter whether I engage with them or they engage with me. So it's like a crowd where two people are walking. They don't need to like or dislike each other. But any place where we like or dislike each other, we are engaging in some activity. Why do we feel that I am disliked by people? A lot of times we try to look for that answer outside. That is, as to why is that person disliking me? What is wrong with that person? Am I doing something in my behavior to be disliked? And that is where, when we are trying to understand our social positioning, we can convert our analysis into a slightly different direction. That direction is, what do I feel about myself? So when I look at myself in the mirror, does a very warm smile come in, and I like seeing what I see in the mirror? Or when I look into the mirror, it is just extremely disappointing because I don't like to meet my own eyes. Now, here the starting point, whether the world is liking us or not liking us, the starting point is that we are not liking ourselves. So when we are presenting ourselves to the world, we are starting at a very huge disadvantage. So if at all it's a self-esteem issue that I feel that I'm not liked by people, we need to be meeting people who can help us make a relationship with ourselves, who can help us make us like ourselves, who can help us become better in our own eyes. The second kind of thing is where you know that it's not a self-esteem issue, but there are certain groups of people where you don't feel welcome. Now, if you don't feel welcome at every place, we need to be looking at what could be going wrong. But if there are certain groups in which you don't feel welcome, there could be a few things to look at, like poles repel. So maybe your weaknesses and their weaknesses are the same, and you're not going to add any value to each other's life. So it forms as a part of dislike because you're constantly repelling each other. You have very little to add to each other's life. So even our simplest of friendships, our work relationships, which don't need to have intimacy, even those relationships somewhere have an element of connection. So we are adding to each other's life in that connection. We are adding energy, we are adding solutions, we are adding grace, we are adding happiness, we are adding drama, we are adding a codependent relationship, as in a Tom and Jerry kind of a thing, wherein we play chase. Is that person is rejecting you and you are clinging on to that person. So every relationship has its own chemistry, and if at all we are feeling that that chemistry is not coming to pass, it is extremely um, hurtful because you feel a sense of dislike. We need to understand that whether this is a pattern that is there in that relationship. What we mean by a pattern is that while there might be 10 people who like you, who appreciate you, who want to be around you, who like being around you basically, do we tend to take those people for granted, whereas the people who dislike us, or the people who are demeaning us, or the people who are in any form wanting us not to be around them, we are seeking a lot of their validation and approval. So there can be phases in our life, hopefully phases and not a personality issue. There can be phases in our life where we are um, feeling a little low about ourselves and we are inviting a lot more rejection. And that is why we are seeking validation from people where it's not going to come from, because they could just be stuck in their egos, or they and we cannot have a vibe together because of the differences that would take a lot of time to bridge. And that is why you don't want to be dealing with each other at this stage of your life. So in such stages, if we are seeking validation from people who are rejecting us, we might be going through a particular stage where we want to understand the gaps in our personality. So people who appreciate us, we are thankful for them, but we don't engage with them too much because we want to be with people who can help us grow. So a lot of times people who criticize us, people who make us feel not complete, are able to point out gaps. So if at all we understand the reasons of rejection, uh, which is not about that person, which is about what you are feeling around that person, automatically the gap areas can be worked upon. You can understand what is it that you want to be developing in yourself. For example, there's some people who could be great people, but their ability to communicate can be slightly inferior. And because of that, what they mean to say does not usually end up reaching the person that they want to communicate it to. It has a lot of room for misinterpretation. So if communication is a handicap of mine and I'm getting that kind of feedback in the gossip circles or from people who are rejecting me, I can look into how to develop a better form of communication. Now, this helps me develop quite a lot. Third, if at all we've been rejected by important people in our life, like our parents, like our primary teachers, like our siblings or significant people in our life, it can tend to transfer that feeling in every area. We feel judged a bit too often. We feel that people can see me and my mistakes. Uh, and that is why we tend to hide ourselves in layers and yet want a relationship with those people. At such a point of time when we are going through social anxiety, there are 3, 4 things that we can do. First, you can sit down, write a diary, and figure out feelings that you have for yourself. That's always going to be the first time. How do we feel about ourselves? Second, name at least 10 significant people in your life. Write their names down. And what is it that you're seeking from that person? Now here, write both things. What you're already getting from them, and what is it that you want a little more to come from their side. Once we are going to be having that little idea or clarity as to what is the kind of need, as well as what is the kind of what you contribute to that person you're bringing to the table, we can then see if that other person feels for you the same way. Because many times people don't dislike us, it's just that we are not part of their 10 top people. So once we know what exactly are we giving and what exactly are we needing in that relationship, we'll be able to communicate that or bring in that ability inside us much better. Now, if as a theme, when you're writing down these 10 names, for all of them, you feel that your need is the same, then we need to understand whether you're asking for that in the right places. Let me see if I can bring in an example. Suppose you have 10 friends, and what you're seeking in those relationships is for those people to make you feel special. In a pampering way, in a way to tell you that you matter. Is this that you need from some one or two specific people, which are generalizing? कि किसी से भी मिल जाए, कहीं से भी मिल जाए, पर मुझे तो ये चाहिए. So is it a person specific need, or it is a need that you are in general needing with anybody who's willing to give that to you? So once we understand that part of it, we will know who are the people whom we are distracting ourselves from. So suppose you need it from your husband, but you're seeking that in your friendship. Suppose you need a parent in your life, right? Somebody who would have the patience, who can scold you, who can understand you, who would love you irrespective, but you expect that kind of a thing from your husband. Right? So a lot of times what happens is our needs can become misplaced. We might be needing a parent, but we look for that in a friend. We might be needing a friend, but we look for that in office colleagues. We might be needing intellectual discussion, but we look for that in only the one or two people in our life. So given that, once we understand our needs, we will know if we are asking for those needs in the right places. So automatically a form of feeling rejected or people not liking us reduces. So I am not liked by people can become a very overwhelming response in our own head, because being liked by other people or getting the right feedback by other people can help us enhance our understanding of our own self, right? We don't always need appreciation. So there is Kabir ji ka doha saying, "Ninda kiye naak rakhiye." Basically, what that doha says is that what your criticizers will tell you, your loved ones will not. So you also want people who criticize you in your life, who can make you feel disliked, who can make you feel not wanted. Now, in what areas is this repel force happening between you and them? So, like, this feedback system creates a sense of purpose in us, not a way to prove ourselves to the world, not in an insecure manner, but, oh, I think this is something I can develop better. And that feedback loop makes us more and more complete and makes us more and more accomplished. So being disliked is also kind of chemistry we would not want to reject, and we would want to analyze it. So how to convert I am disliked by people into a positive thought would be, one, the person I'm disliked by, why and how does that person matter? If that person matters, then what about me is being disliked? Can I ask that person, or can I explore from any other area? Third, if there's only a repeated thought in my mind that I'm disliked, I'm disliked, I'm disliked, that can create emotional chaos, and logic can go for a toss. So I might want to put a break on the thought that I am disliked and ask myself, is this dislike coming from me disliking myself, or a particular person disliking me for a particular quality or a particular behavior? Once we understand these parts of it, if and when we choose to bring about that change, think this is important, I'll work upon it. It can be something immediate, it can be something which you can decide to do as and when it comes in your life, saying, इस पर भी काम करना है, कभी तो काम करेंगे. So you recognizing what areas of incompleteness that you want to plug so that you are not disliked, right? It's you can't make everybody happy at all times. So which people's being unhappy at what point of time is a choice that we still have in our hands. So if they dislike us for something that doesn't matter to us, you don't need to try too hard to please that person. But they will begin to discover you, understand you, and like you for who you are. But if they dislike you because of some incompleteness of yours, that you're bringing some chaos into their life, you are sapping their energy by needing too much validation, you tend to gossip a lot, you tend to be scared, and you constantly need reassurance like you're a baby. If there are any particular qualities of yours because of which you feel that they could be disliking you, it's about identifying them and making yourself work better there. When I say we need to work on ourselves, I add in that dimension the involvement of the right people giving us the right feedback. So your choice of people who should understand you and whom you would like to like you, they should be in that inner circle, about those 10, 15, 20 people whose feedback you will take to heart. At times, a stranger can give you a feedback that people who know you might not. So if a stranger is giving you a feedback which gives you a feeling of being disliked or not being appreciated by that person, you might want to wait for a minute and ask yourself, is that something you want to change in yourself? Or it's that person's problem. I mean, it's okay. I don't need to live up to what that person thinks about me. You will find a lot more peace and growth coming together. So learning is easy. But what to learn, making that choice, a lot of times is where we need to make the choice on what we will do to want to be liked by others. So we decide how we present ourselves to the world. Some people like us, some people don't. If you understand why they don't like you, and it's something you want to work upon, surely work about it. But a desperate need to get everybody to like us can only create a realm of anxiety and a layer of negativity where I'm not liked, and we begin to ignore people who like us. Appreciating who we are and what we do for the world outside. This can give us a lot of confidence of being liked, at the same time being able to take the criticism or dislike that comes from certain people. This is what I have for you today. Thank you.
Help Talks are daily health-related talks held at Health Education Library for People, Mumbai, India. For more information visit www.healthlibrary.com. Subscribe to Help Talks channel. Be better informed about your health.